This is an application called Cal AI. Since its inception, it's made millions of dollars. Why is that the case? Well, Cal AI is one of the very few apps that has a free trial system that works. I'm here to tell you today that for micro SaaS application creators, they should not be using free trials in 99% of cases. Let me go ahead and share with you why I have such a cynical view on free trials, and I'll explain kind of my history. So first off, welcome to the video. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you why free SaaS users never respect a free trial, at least for the most part. When we say never, we mean for the most part, 99% of the time. So first off, let me kind of break things down. I've been in the SaaS world for years now, and I've had probably easily over 20,000 plus users across various different applications. My claim to fame is really just having a diverse portfolio of all kinds of different applications that serves all kinds of different niches. That's what worked for me personally, because I find that diversifying and creating different applications really helps me in the long term personally. And what I've learned is that although I've created all kinds of different applications and had all kinds of different users, I found that there were some striking similarities between all niches. And one of these kind of similarities is the concept of really not offering a free trial. And let me explain why. In order for me to really explain why free trials are terrible for you as a solo micro SaaS developer, let me first explain the most common types of free trials and how we can tackle them head on. So the first type of free trial is the pretty obvious one. The free trial that is pretty much allows you all access to the experience, to the application, but it, gives you a certain day period in which you can use it. So from 3 to 30 days. This is just a typical example. Let's say, for example, Shopify. Shopify is a software where you can go build an e-commerce store. In that case, they offer anywhere from a 30-day free trial to a 14-day free trial to a $1 free trial for 3 months. Sometimes it's $1 for 30 days. Now, the whole kind of concept for Shopify is that Shopify is a publicly traded company. They can offer to free trials and paid trials that are $1 for 30 days and even 90 days long, because once again, they're a publicly traded company. They can afford to offer these things. People like me and you cannot. We have software costs and we need profitability. At the end of the day, the whole reason why we create our applications is to be as profitable as soon as possible, right? I know me personally, I love when I create an application in like about a week and a half. I get started on marketing it, running a few ads, and then boom, I make money the same month that I created the application. That's, basically heaven on earth for a solo SaaS developer, right? And here's the thing, or a micro SaaS developer, here's the thing. The reason why people don't actually do that is one of the things is free trials. So the second type of free trial is a credit-based trial. So you guys have seen different softwares like this before. What they'll do is they'll give you a access to a product, and they'll give you a certain amount of credits. So a good example of this is, for example, Leonardo AI. It's a image generation software, and you go in there, you create 150 worth of credits of images, and then you're done. That's your free trial. And I believe their free trial essentially goes on every single day. And if you think about it, mathematically speaking, if you never had any seed investment, if you are the type of business owner that is purely just a SaaS solo developer, or not even, micro SaaS developer, let's say that, you don't have a team, you're doing things by yourself, right? And you put yourself in Leonardo AI shoes, you're simply not going to have the money to afford to run the software. See, a lot of the people in the SaaS world who actually have teams, their goal is not to run a profitable company. Their goal is to gain as many users as possible, to cause as much waves as possible, and eventually get acquired within a year or two maximum. And they're using that investment money, that seed money, to literally pay the lights for their company, the bill. They don't mind taking a loss. They're not looking for profitability. You hear all the time this concept called ramen profitability, which is ideally everybody in the company is eating ramen until they become profitable. Why do you think sayings like that actually exist? There's this air of ideology in the SaaS world where people do not remain profitable for a long period of time because they overspend. One of those ways, like I said, is free trials. If we take the case of Leonardo AI, that software, right? Leonardo AI, you have millions of people from India, from Pakistan, from China, from the Philippines, from Vietnam, all these even from the United States, all these people signing up to Leonardo AI and only using the free account. On top of that, you can create multiple emails and still use it for another 150 free tokens. So imagine somebody has 10 free emails or 10 email accounts. They sign up to Leonardo AI with each account, and they get 100 free tokens plus each account, or multiplied by each account, 10 accounts. That's 10 times 150, and essentially they're causing bankruptcy to the country to the company. Now, once again, Leonardo AI is a company that has seed money, it has investment money, and they're looking to get acquired. So a company like that can afford to do these things, but people like me and you cannot. Okay. Number 3, a limited time feature trial. So So what this is a user will sign up for the free trial of the application, and they'll get access to just simply a feature or two. But really, the good features, the software company is holding them back from accessing. They have to pay to access it. Well, what does this actually do? This creates, number 1, a frustrated user. Okay? Why does this create a frustrated user? Because the real features that people really want to access are locked away with payment. And when the user sees that carrot and they can't grab it, they don't want to have anything to do with that company anymore. This is a psychological adherence. Consumers are very petty in nature. This is the absolute truth. And I'm talking to you, SaaS owners. Your consumers are petty in nature. If they don't get what they want, when they want, the way they want, they're going to lash out at you. And they're not going to lash out by giving you bad reviews, even though they may. They're just not going to purchase your product. They're going to try to take advantage of your product. Now, once again, my cynical views are all seen based on my point of view of SaaS. My point of view of SaaS is very clear. I create different micro SaaS applications for years now to become financially free. I create them, I profit off of them, and eventually they die off and I create new ones. It's just that simple, okay? And I don't have a profitability issue. As soon as I launch, I'm pretty much profitable. I understand marketing, I understand creating the product, and I understand how to keep my costs down. Now that we kind of went over some trials, let me make it clear. I don't personally offer free trials, but if you want to, there are a few ways that you can do it. I'll mention 2 of them. Number 1, a 30-minute free trial. Yes, a 30-minute free trial with an IP address control system, an email control system, and a cell phone number control system. Meaning, if you want to onboard somebody, let them type in their phone number, for example, along with their email address. You're already collecting their IP address, saving that in a database, right? And what happens is you've logged them now as a free user. And once they get access to the application, there should be this big banner that's a countdown timer that is literally counting 30 minutes down. And it should say, you have 30 minutes to try this product for free. Okay? And if they log out and they try to access another account where they can get the free trial, it won't work. They're going to be IP address locked, they're going to be phone number locked, and usually users are not going to go through the hell and the hassle of trying to get another phone number, trying to get another IP address. They could get the IP address easily with the VPN, but they're probably not going to try all of that to go further. So the more steps you can put in the way, the better. But the most important thing here is a 30-minute countdown timer right in front of them telling them, hey, test your features now, because after 30 minutes, forever hold your peace. You're not going to be able to access this product anymore for free. And what you should do for a little bit of psychological play, which is really straight out of my book, I'll leave the link in the description. You can join it or read the book for $0 on Kindle Unlimited, for free basically on Kindle Unlimited if you have it. I'll just leave the link in the description. You can check it out. But what you could do during that 30-minute banner is you could put a little warning or a little label underneath it that says, get our application for 30% off. Once this free trial is over, so does this discount disappear. Something like that. And that will help you convert. So that's one of the free trial options. A second option is a paid trial. So what you could do is you can, for example, allow people to pay for whatever feature they want to try. So let's say, for example, you have a software that is a Shopify application, and the user only wants to test it, to use it. Well, they can pay a day's worth, 30 days worth, 5 days worth, whatever the number is that you want to set to test the application, right? And they'll pay it so that they're not necessarily paying through a subscription cost or anything like that. It's just a one-time payment just for them to test and try it, right? You can do that. And if you want to get creative, you can remove that trial cost, right, from their actual subscription cost later down the road. That could be a good play to incentivize people to join. But once again, these are just ideas for trials. I personally don't use trials. I keep things very, very simple. And I have this attitude where if you don't want to buy it, don't buy it. And if you want to buy it, buy it. That's just my simple approach in the SaaS world. So there's some kind of thoughts and ideas of, for this trial concept. Now, there are some people, believe it or not, that there's a certain kind of trial system that I don't recommend, okay? And I call it the bait and switch trial. And a good way about this is actually Cal AI uses this. But Cal AI, once again, is in a different scenario because they're on the Apple App Store. The bait and switch form of, Cal AI doesn't really use it. Let me explain. The bait and switch form of psychological trial is this. People say, oh, sign up now, free trial, or instant access, sign up now, whatever the exact words are. But essentially, you're allowing your user to sign up to your application. They sign up to the application, they get free access, and they can't actually use any of the features. Everything's locked away. What happens then from a psychological process is now you are sowing hate within your customers for you. It's better off for you not to even to offer this to begin with. Why? Because when you bring the customer in, they're, without even thinking, subconsciously, they're now in their head thinking they have access to whatever you're giving them. But they don't look at it like you're giving them something. They don't see it that way. Once they have access, once they have whatever it is that they want in their hand, subconsciously, they're not saying, oh, wow, look at this developer, the owner of this product. They're so gracious to give me this for free. They don't think that. They think that beforehand. They don't think that, in the situation. What they think is, okay, this belongs to me now. And so when they're in there and they can't click any different tool or app and they can't use anything, they start to say, wow, this person is not letting me use what belongs to me. That's their mental process, subconsciously. Once again, they're not saying this out loud, but they're not thinking it. It's just within them. It's a thought process that is subconscious. And when they have that, they start to grow frustrated because they're clicking on different features and they realize, hey, these features are not usable. I have this software that I got access to, but none of the features are usable. And what happens is, once again, subconsciously, they might not be saying this out loud, and they're definitely maybe not thinking it. They start to write you off mentally, right? Mentally, where they just said, you know what, I'm not going to spend money with this person. However, if you had never offered a free trial, never offered even access to the product, and forced them to pay to even get access inside, they would never think like that. They would think that, hey, I'm getting exactly what I deserve, which is what I paid for. But in the first situation, they don't feel like they get what they deserved. They feel like they have ownership over it because you simply gave it to them. And that's the difference. You're kind of baiting and switching them from their standpoint. Now, your standpoint is, hey, I never wanted to give you something for free. I never promised to this. But in their mind, you've opened the doors. It's kind of like, right, opening the door to your house, somebody walking in, and then they assume that they have the right to be there because you just left the door open. And their argument is, hey, you left your door open, right? It's the same kind of concept. So in this case, what you need to do is if you're going to have a bait and switch type free trial, you need to get rid of it. And what you need to do is not even offer people access to the product, make them pay in order to get access. And from that standpoint, they have nothing that they're locked off on. They get access through equity. They pay for what they get, and they get for what they paid for, or they get what they paid for. So that's essentially how you should run a trial. And trust me, like I said, I've had thousands of users. And where I learned the first time about trials and how annoying they could be is when I actually had a product that was a white label SaaS product. Okay, I told this story when I made my video about white label SaaS. My very, very first product ever was a white label SaaS product. It wasn't a product that I custom developed or anything like that. That SaaS product went on, like I said, it was my very first one, and it made me money for years. For like 3 years and a half, it made me money. And the thing in the beginning was I offered a free trial. I was thinking just like everyone else was thinking, oh, let me offer a free trial. Let me offer a free trial. And what ended up happening was you got the people of certain parts of the world coming up to the software and using their 3-day free trial and then signing up for another account, signing up for another account, signing up for another account. Now, I didn't have any coding skills at the time. There's nothing I could have done to stop this, but there was a little switch on the application that said, turn off free trial. And so I did. I turned off free trial after like a year and a half. And guess what? People tried creating accounts who wanted to steal. That was their intention. They couldn't anymore. They couldn't steal the product. They were effectively getting the product completely for free. And so what happened was, over time, people started to respect the presence of the software. They stopped asking for free trials. The free trials weren't even offered. They literally paid for the software. Now, that was actually a software that I killed the market. In fact, I gained about a third of the market share for the need of that product. And truly, truly, I made some real damage in the industry, which was a great thing for me because obviously it was profitable. But the point is that first software taught me a lot of lessons about the world of SaaS and how consumers psychologically think, which is, once again, what my book is all written about. It's about the sales psychology process. And if, once again, you have Kindle or you use Amazon Prime or anything like that, you can go get my book. I'll leave a link in the description. Like I said, you can go check it out. And it's really just a workbook to help you work through your SaaS, how to really process what you're going to offer, free trials, products, features, who you're going to sell it to, how you're going to market it, your positioning, things like that. And I also want to finish off by saying the best case scenario. And once again, this is the best case scenario that I have today. The absolute best case scenario is to never offer free trials. I have a little pop-up that pops up on my website showing people how the application works. It could be in a GIF form or a video form, and what ends up happening is it motivates visitors to convert. They don't necessarily need to try the application if they see someone else using it in front of them, okay? A lot of companies don't utilize this, but I utilize it all the time. I make these little easy videos or sometimes GIFs that show the product, right, in the video, show how to use it, and that's enough as a sales motivator because, once again, I am not trying to convert people who don't need my application. I'm going specifically to solve a very specific need, and that's at the end of the day why I call myself a micro SaaS developer. Part of the reason why I say I own different micro SaaSes and I don't say the word SaaS is because a micro SaaS solves a very, very, very specific solution. Okay? Cal AI is technically a micro SaaS if you use that definition. However, there's a whole team behind this thing. This is not just any kind of small micro SaaS. There's a huge team behind this. They have marketing teams, affiliate promoter teams. They have all kinds of teams behind this. So what Cal AI can do, and Leonardo AI, and Midjourney, and all these big AI tools can do for you, as a user giving you a free trial, you can't replicate that, and you shouldn't replicate it. You don't want to get into a system where you're teaching your users, you're reinforcing arrogance within your users and entitlement where they feel they deserve something for free. A lot of people think the logical fallacy where if I give them something, well, they're going to return something. And that was partially true for a good part of the world. I mean, at one point in time, the psychological bias of reciprocity worked. But we're living in a generation now in 2025 where reciprocity is at an all-time low. All-time low. And you have to be in a situation, especially if you're a micro SaaS developer, where you have to realize your worth. And your worth is you brought a product to the market that is extremely unique because it solves a very specific problem. And if your product doesn't solve a very specific problem, well, then you need to go back to the drawing board because you're not going to be able to articulate yourself with such authority. Where if, for example, a customer says to you, hey, do you guys offer free trials? If you have this little thing in you that pulls you back and you're nervous to say, no, we don't, that is your subconscious telling you, hey, we need to pivot from this niche because we don't have enough authority here. What kind of precedent are you setting to people? When you give them a free trial, you let them abuse you and use you any kind of way, and you're begging and pleading, you're on your knees begging, asking them, please, can you buy my product? It's not going to work. You have to come from a position of authority. And authority doesn't mean, hey, I call myself the boss, therefore I have authority. No, it's not about claiming it. It's about speaking it without the language of tongues. You literally just see the actions happen. How come in the world some people listen to others and are impacted drastically by others, but then you have other people who might be the loudest in the rooms, but nobody cares about their presence? It's because of authority. Authority is a language that is spoken without words. And the best way to test this, if your SaaS has authority, is simply not offering a free trial. Watch if people join or not. And do your marketing, right? And look at the results. Some nature of some different SaaSes are more successful and more profitable than others, right? And it comes down to the need of the consumer. If the consumer has such a high need, where they're psychologically, craving your product, they need it, right? They're going to buy it. Trust me, they're going to buy it. These are the same people that pay for Netflix subscriptions. These are the same people that go out and pay, $200 for a hair appointment. They go to the barber shop every week or two, pay $40, $30, sometimes $80. These are the same people that you're trying to charge $20, $30, $40 for your SaaS a month. And they're like, you know what? I think I need a free trial. Does that even sound right to you? These are the same people who are paying $10, $12 for Starbucks. Doesn't make sense. So go ahead, gain your authority. Don't offer a free trial. Make your product so desirable that people cannot live without it, and they're forced to pay for it. I'll talk to you later. Hopefully this video was informative and drastically moving. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you soon.